Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Modern Glory video. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the weirdest super heavy you can take in your guard army. Seriously, if I hadn't seen one of these things in real life and someone had just sent me the datasheet, I would have presumed it was some wacky homebrew unit that they came up with. But no, the tank we're going to talk about does actually exist, and it is mind-boggling how odd it is. I'm not talking about the Macarius Omega. I'm not talking about a Legends unit. I'm talking about the Valdor Tank Hunter. If you've not heard of the Valdor before, don't worry. Almost nobody has, and I wouldn't even know they existed if I hadn't actually seen one in real life. It was at the end of 9th edition, and some brave, beautiful son of a bitch brought one to a complete shark tank of an event. He came stone cold last, and I'm entirely blaming the Valdor because it is truly, it's an awful unit. And as we go further and further down this rabbit hole, I guarantee you, the more you learn about this tank, the more you're just going to be looking at your screen with a expression of confusion and just terror. So with all of that said, let's not mess around anymore. Let's dive right into today's episode. So I guess the first thing I need to do is try and explain what the hell a Valdor actually is. Basically, it's a Malcador that someone thought it would be a good idea to strap a neutron laser projector to. Now, I have no idea what a neutron laser projector is. Apparently, it's some kind of powerful energy weapon that fires a beam of super energized particles that can penetrate the thickest of armor. It sounds like to me some tech priest somewhere uncovered something from the Dark Age technology and just strapped it to the first vehicle he could find. And for some reason, that was a Malcador. Malcadors are so out of date. It was like bringing a World War I tank to a modern battlefield. They were superseded by the Leman Russ. The Leman Russ was in the Horus Heresy. How the hell are you superseded by something that's 10,000 years old? You get the idea of what I'm saying here? Like the Malcador is this ancient, crappy World War I tank chassis that somehow made it into the 41st millennium, and they just strapped this unbelievably powerful weapon to it. So that's what it is in the lore. On the tabletop, you would think it was some kind of medium heavy tank, right? I recently did a review on the regular Malcador and the Malcador Infernus, and both of those are basically halfway between a Leman Russ and a Rogal Dawn. They've got the speed of a Leman Russ, they've got the toughness of a Leman Russ, but they've got the number of wounds of a Rogal Dawn, right? So if the Valdor is built on the Malcador chassis, then surely it's got the Malcador stat line, right? Wrong. For some reason, despite the fact that it's built on a Malcador chassis, this thing is movement 9, so it's slower. I guess that can be explained by the big, giant gun that's strapped to it. But then it's toughness 13. Why is it toughness 13? That's the same toughness as a Baneblade. You look at the Valdor, there's nothing there that implies it should be toughness 13. It's the same size as a regular Malcador. It should be toughness 11, but for some reason it's a super heavy. And so therefore it's toughness 13. Now it's got a 2+ save, which I can get behind. Most guard vehicles do have that these days. And then it's got 20 wounds, which again kind of puts it at the lower end of the super heavy tier, the super heavy chassis. You've got some super heavies which have got 24 wounds, you've got some which have got like 22, but it's got more wounds than a Rogal Dawn. So this thing isn't halfway between a Dawn and a Leman Russ. This thing is halfway between a Dawn and a Baneblade. And I don't know why. Because it's not Baneblade sized or shaped. You look at it, it's just a medium tank. But okay. GW designers, Forge World designers, I'm going with it. You've given it toughness 13. You've made it slow. You've given it a crap load of wounds. And then because technically now it's super heavy, it's got OC of 8. Oh, okay. It's actually got good objective control. This just doesn't make sense to me in any way, shape, or form. But let's move on. Maybe the weapons will make more sense. Maybe the vehicle itself will be strapped to the gills with all sorts of stuff. No, it comes with one autocannon and then the main weapon. It doesn't come with 2 sponsons. Yeah, you'd think the autocannon was like a whole weapon. Like it sticks out the front of the Valdor. No. Nope, it goes on the side. It has a lone sponson. This thing literally has a strong hand. A strong hand! It's a strong autocannon on one side. I believe it's the right-hand side has an autocannon because the left-hand side just has, it might be the way around, but the other side just has like these big cooling pipes for the neutron laser. So we've got one spare weapon. It's a sponson on its own. This thing is like an M3 Lee. So we've got a sponson on the side. Fuck it, why not? Now you can swap that autocannon for a heavy bolter, a heavy flamer, or a las cannon, and you can give it a hunter killer missile, and you can give it a heavy stub. At least there's some semblance of normality with the extra weapons you can take and what you can swap it out for. But yeah, no, it's got a single sponson. But okay, so surely, if it's not got any accompanying weapons, nothing that is going to boost up its firepower, add on a little bit of extra DACA, surely the main weapon's good, right? Surely the main weapon is like Shadow Sword style good, right? Nope. Main weapon's absolutely dog shit. 48-inch range, 2 shots. 2 shots from a super heavy weapon. Those shots are strength 16. Okay, -4. D6 plus 1 damage. Guys, it's a slightly bigger las cannon. This super heavy tank comes with one strong hand autocannon and a slightly bigger las cannon. That's it. The most exciting thing about this is the stubber. I don't even know what to say. It's probably more potent in close combat. Its armor tracks are probably better at this point because at least that's 8 attacks, 6 attacks at strength 8. There's some kind of volume there. But wait, we're not done yet. Power overload. Each time this model makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle unit, you can reroll the damage roll. Now you'd think, oh, that doesn't sound so weird. Mordin, in fact, getting extra damage on that giant, weird, odd las cannon is kind of reliable, right? D6 plus 1 with a reroll, that's not too bad. Wait, because most of these abilities that vehicles have, if they're not durability based, they affect the main weapon. Think of all of the Liber Russ abilities. They're mostly focused on the turret weapon, right? This thing just rerolls all the damage. So for some reason, you can power overload the hunter killer missile that this thing shoots. So when you yeet the hunter killer missile off like Wile E. Coyote and it hits the enemy, if you get the wound through and you roll a 1, you can use power overload, as long as it's against a monster or vehicle, to re-roll the damage. Somehow, the big generator on board the Valdor makes the gunpowder, the explosive, whatever we're going to call it, in the rocket more potent. Truly, it is a technological relic from an older time. Because it doesn't make sense to me. But therefore, I'm not a Magos, right? I'm not a tech priest, so what do I know? But it affects the las cannon, it affects the main weapon, but it affects it affects all weapon systems on this thing. It's just... oh, it's totally bonkers, man. It's totally bonkers. And on top of all this, we then get to the points costs. Now, I can't decide if this thing is too cheap or too expensive. And that alone should give you an idea of how confused I am right now. Because when you think about super heavies, you think of things like Bane Blades, right? Each one of those big beasties is coming in at like 400 plus points each because of the toughness and the amount of wounds that they're bringing to the table. And bear in mind that the Valdor is as tough and has almost as many wounds as a Baneblade, right? And yet it's coming in at 285 points, which amazingly makes it the cheapest super heavy you can get for your guard, which is kind of funny. And that might tempt you to take it. But then when you realize that this thing costs more than a Rogel Dawn at the balance patch, it's like, oh, I wonder which one I would take. The Rogel Dawn or the Valdor. So somehow this thing is both simultaneously a really good deal for a super heavy and also totally overcosted. Honestly, I have no idea what the thought process was behind this datasheet. It feels to me like someone was asked to create a datasheet for the Valdor, but they've never seen one and they actually had no idea what it is. So they asked their boss, like maybe it was the intern, he just like asked one of the staff around, like, yeah, what's a Valdor? I don't see one in the cabinets. Like, what is it? And so he goes, oh yeah, like it's a big tank for the guard, but it's like, you know, it's got a big laser sticking out the front of it. You know what a Valdor is. Come on, get on with it. You're the intern, get on with it. And then it's like, well, okay, big tank for the guard with a big laser out the front. Like, okay. And that's the profile they came up with. They assumed big tank, so they gave it a super heavy profile. And then they just like made up some stats for what they thought might be a good weapon. Because no one who has any knowledge of the game can have put this datasheet together and sat back afterwards and looked at it and gone, yep, that was a good job. The only other explanation is it was literally they forgot the Valdor existed and they were like, oh my god, the datasheet's got to go out in 5 minutes. It's about to go live on one community. We've got to add the Valdor in. Yeah, quickly, just give me some numbers. Yeah, that's fine. 13, 20, fine. Neutron laser, 48 range. There you go. Quickly, tack it onto the end because it's at the very bottom of the Astra Militarum index for Forge World. Maybe it's because they do the datasheets in alphabetical order. Or maybe it's because they did literally tack it on at the end. That's the only explanation I have for the Valdor datasheet. Because if someone actually did put thought into this vehicle and actually considered its datasheet, and this is what they came up with, frankly, they're either grossly incompetent or they're an unbelievably cruel individual who wanted to punish all the people that had actually spent money on a Forge World Valdor. But yeah, that's my candidate for the weirdest and probably worst guard vehicle. But as always, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you own a Valdor? Has it ever done anything? And are there any other vehicles that you would put forward that you think are pretty bad or pretty weird? Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the Call of Duty. So a massive thank you to Bon Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, August Vardy, and the Tommies. Thank you guys, your incredible support makes a huge difference, and it is a big part of how I'm able to do Mordy and Glory full time. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.